a lot of women talk about this common theme in men of this like Peter Pan syndrome, and like they'll be with you for a few months and then they drop you and they're like on to the next woman, right? What is that? Like, what, considering that kind, yeah, I hate to say it, but like that was a little bit you.
For sure it was me.
So what inside of you was so addicted to chasing that infatuation high?
It really was a drug. So men get addicted to the physical nature of the beginning of the relationship when you can't, get your hands off of each other, you can't stop locking eyes. All the chemicals are flowing through your body of dopamine. It is a massive dopamine rush. So anyone that's prone to dopamine, and loves anything like that, they're going to probably not be stoked when real love needs to kick in and the infatuation period is over. Anyone that copes with sex is going to have a hard time when the sex isn't as often in a relationship and those beginning stages are over. And, even if you're not having sex, if you're just making out or being really physical in any way, any type of letdown from that can be really hard for a guy who's prone to coping with sex. And so I think the Peter Pan is someone who's like, yeah, when's the next ice cream? When's the next candy bar? Like, I like these feelings. These are good. And chases these. I mean, anyone who chases a lot of adrenaline rushes can be prone to that. I'm not saying it's textbook, but it's really common.
So when does Peter decide he wants to leave Never Never Land?
I think there's several reasons that Peter will leave Never Never Land, but for me, it was, I didn't want to keep doing what I was doing. It was painful because to stay in Never Never Land, where it's constantly that first 3 months, it's not really like that. It's the first 3 months, and then there's month 4, 5, and 6 where it's not so good, and then a breakup happens and people are hurt and it hurts you. It doesn't feel good. You don't feel good about yourself. You feel a sense of shame by not rising to the occasion of being the man that you could be. They say, like, a lot of people are saying this now, but most men don't leave. They don't break up with the girl because they don't like the girl. They break up with the girl because they're afraid to become the man they needed to become in order for the relationship to work. And that was kind of me. Like, I didn't want to rise to the occasion. I didn't want to give up my coping mechanisms. I didn't want to give up Never Never Land. If a guy is finding it easier to meet women, he's gonna be more prone to just enjoying those first 3-4 months, and when it gets hard, he's gonna give up. Why go into the pain? And there's women that do this too. It's not just a man thing, but you don't actually get to that deeper love that is safe, that is connecting, that is giving and receiving and supportive. You could just be alone forever. You can do it. You can, if you're like upfront and a guy's like, I don't ever want to get married, I don't ever want to commit to a serious relationship, and the two adults decide to go into just enjoying 3 months together and leaving, like, I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I think there's a calling deep down in every boy to be a man and to love a woman deeper. And maybe that man might even be called to have children and support children. And if you want to rise to that occasion, you have to learn how to find fulfillment in the deeper love. That's not the lust. That's not the coping. Because if you're constantly chasing those things, and this is what happens, a man loves that first 3 months. He knows he doesn't want to be Peter Pan forever. He doesn't want to be that guy. So he gets married, but then he's still living in Never Never Land. He's just hiding it from the wife. He's addicted to porn. He's addicted to alcohol. He's addicted to drugs. He's just got this like these coping mechanisms. He kind of just hides in the dark, and he's like shows up and he's the man, but he's still kind of reliant on all these other.
He's just a little boy dressed up as the man.
I mean, it's yeah, and I don't want to shame anyone for that. Like that everyone's on their own journey to try to be the best version of themselves they can be. And I would never shame a man for where he's at in his journey. You know, I'm not a guy that wants to shame men for their porn habits or addictions or alcohol. Like that's just not my style. That's not what I want to do. I want to help men. I want to meet them where they're at and help them just become a version of themselves they're more proud of. You know, I think we're all somewhere deep down Peter Pan. I mean, I still have a little Peter Pan in me that's like calls my name. You know, it's just learning how to deal with him.
I think there's like a healthy level of Peter in all of us.
Yeah.
That's just like our playful inner child.
Yes,
like,
and that's the healed inner child, as people would say. The healed inner child can play and dance and enjoy themselves and feel confident, but an unhealthy one is clawing for attention or not wanting to feel the way they feel, suppressing. And I think it's just about rising when the time comes. So I think a lot of men do leave Never Never Land, but some do it and kind of resent it. They're kind of like, I left my playfulness aside, and then they're a slave to the job and the kids, and they quit their hobbies, and they feel like they've turned into this like grumpy old man. And I think that there's a healthy way to understand and find fulfillment and bring Peter with you on this journey, you know?